Aloha guys, you're watching JRTV Hawaii in search of a great marriage, new ideas, and world peace. And today we're looking at week 3, part 3 of Easy World Peace. This is a workshop, and now we're going to get into the idea of final authority. And guess what that means? It means final responsibility. And I'll tell you a story that's common. People say that the women are victims of the guys who give them money for sexual intercourse, and as a responsible position you say something like, well, it's my fault for using my body to seduce the person. This happens also in third world countries where the rich guy gets the younger woman. Well, it's nothing to be envious of. It's not love. And one, and two, all it really is, okay, is somebody who wants something from their objectifying one another. So no big deal. They have a right to do so. And it may be the best situation for the woman, who knows. But what I will say is that the point is responsibility. When you're an authority in your life, you take responsibility. You say, well, my feelings, my emotional status, financial status are all things that I can influence. But there's always a confusion that goes up. In fact, another story I must say first is the idea that, why people have low self-esteem. I found out I had low self-esteem because I labeled people my authorities. So these simple, innocent sounding terms like mother, father, and such actually result in a person having a conscious or subconscious expectation that people will look out for them. And when you're out on your own, especially as an adult, you should be looking out for yourself. This is about reprogramming the mind with new terminology to describe the relationships that you really want. And relationships have to do with roles. So roles are the role of guardian, the role of supervisor, the role of disciplined worker, simple worker, the role of equal, the role of friend, which I actually encourage people to play over labeling each other mother, father, uncle, niece, whatever. All those terms are kind of vague, especially as adults. We need to label each other as equals. And if you really do care about one another, you can even describe yourselves as brothers and sisters instead of mother, son, etc., etc. And I actually sometimes you're going to have to take a hard stance. This is a hard week. It has to do with giving people ultimatums that, I don't want to label you as an authority anymore. I want to label you as an equal. And some people, you might not be even in a position to afford to be able to do what I'm describing. You might have to get yourself financially independent and such. But don't be upset with yourself for things you can't control. Just whenever you do have a choice, choose. And what I'm suggesting is it can be counterproductive to associate with all these people and connect with all these people. It may be better if you're on your own. And you're never on your own if you're with yourself. You're listening to yourself, you're encouraging yourself, you're planning out with yourself. Okay? So, you want to start working with people, not for them. You work to complete a mutual goal. You work for the interests of a company's objectives, or to meet a person's objectives for a day. But you don't. Okay. These are not things And the idea of male and female guardian, obviously we need them. And instead of father, uncle, grandfather, mother, grandfather, whatever, we can use terms male, female guardian, abbreviated MGFG. And then the child is a guardian client. And remember, this is about transitioning from equals to equals, with not wanting people to be submissive and hierarchical dominant relationships in your life, but rather equals. And so that has to do with labeling people on a first name basis, not as a final, like instead of father, just label them their first name, for example. Yeah. And again, the more you know how to play these different roles, you can play them for yourself. And you can rule your life. Let's get into the idea of a deity or a God. So it's one thing if you have like your own relationship with them, quote unquote. But I think it's just the power of words. Like people think prayer is powerful. It's just because your thoughts and your words are incantations. They're spells. They are the precedent to reality. They are what attract different things into your life. So attract good things. Don't talk about things you don't want. And another big thing is to speak and talk in a certain way that is more formal. If you can do that, then you can have more control over your life. Okay, any other thoughts here? Like I was saying, it's all about how you describe people in your life and what role you want them to play. And once you've got that figured out, you're going to be able to really think as an individual. And the idea of submission dominance, like who would want somebody to be submissive around them? Want people to be equal around you. Just think about it. There's so many unconscious expectations when people use these roles of submission dominance. Like for example, if a man, because he isn't confident in himself, confident in his dreams, then he might pick somebody who is submissive, so they'll just go along with his dreams because he's too impatient to find the right person who just has matching dreams. So that, guess what, they wouldn't they wouldn't even, it goes beyond like wanting to, they no longer would want to, it's no longer imagine an issue of power, like, oh, well, you provide finances, oh, well, you have to have an attractive body, or, it's going through the ups and downs of life, through financial difficulty and health crisis, and wanting to go through it, like saying, yes, I do, because I would rather push this person around in a wheelchair more than anybody else. That is true love, and it's also the love that I'm talking about in terms of wanting to have equal people in your life, not conflicts of power and such. So again, you'll have to do some talking to people, offer them ultimatums, say, I'd like to be equals, I think we could serve each other better as friends, instead of having these confusing relationships. Just, we'll serve each other better, we'll be there for, and this also has to do with define age. You're no longer gonna age. I think it contributes to age to label each other as grandfather and try to play that role. No. And also the idea that all these people are responsible, it just, all that energy is a burden, and it ages somebody. So people should be able to take a break from being male guardians, female guardians, as they want to. Aloha.